You're listening to Soundside. I'm Libby Denkmann. And pretty soon, I won't be the only voice you hear doing interviews and talking about the news here on Soundside. I am so beyond excited to announce this finally. It's been in the works for some time. We are getting a new co-host for Soundside here on KUOW. And he's a voice that you might be familiar with if you're a regular listener to the station. And definitely a byline you know if you read local news here in the Seattle area. It's David Kroman. Welcome. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So first off, I want to know, why did you want to do this? You're moving from the newspaper to the radio world. Why did you want to join Soundside, David?
Yeah, my ethos on the news is always, how can we help tired people understand what's happening in the world? Because we're all very busy. We all have a lot going on. And, I think Soundside and KUOW represent kind of an anchor for people. There's a lot going on, particularly on the local level. If they need to feel grounded, Soundside is there for them every single day. And that mission is always is very appealing to me. And I think the task of kind of earning their trust as a voice that can bring complexity and nuance and joining you in that mission as someone who already has, I think, earned that trust is really exciting. And I think my hope is that I can be a grounding force for people and run toward complexity and nuance rather than away from it. And I'm really excited to get going. Why
did you become a journalist? I guess maybe rather than going through your whole biography more, I want to know, why do you stick with journalism? Why is it important to you?
I think to that reason that I alluded to, which is I'm somebody who always felt that the world is more complicated than perhaps some of our incentive structures push people to be, particularly nowadays. It's very easy to think in binary, and that is never the way that my brain has worked. And what journalism I think has allowed me to do and has always been appealing is the job is to understand all of the complexities and then bring that to people in a way that is understandable, lacks jargon, and I think allows people to internalize some of that complexity and nuance. And, I just didn't see a lot of other careers that allowed for that exercise and honesty. And that's why I've always been really drawn to it. And I, again, I think something that this hosting job can allow me to continue to do alongside you.
Personally, all the things you just said really resonate with me, but also I love being able to just call people up and they answer your questions. And it's like not
Yes.
Weird, which is just the dream.
Yeah, they have to pick up the phone when you call.
It's wild. So I want to talk just a little bit briefly about why I have been really hoping to get a co-host on Soundside for a long time. This is something that I believe in because I come from a background in talk radio. I started in commercial radio, where it's much more typical to have two people in conversation about the news. And I then shifted into public radio, where we had, in my opinion, a really high editorial standard, a really high level of production, and the amount of resources that went into stories was just way higher than what you get in commercial radio, where there's been a ton of cuts over the years. But at the same time, I think you lose some of that personal connection when you have that conversational style. And I think people right now are really craving authenticity. They're craving to kind of know us a little better as journalists and where we're coming from. And so my dream here is that we can combine like the rigor of public radio editorial standards with the authenticity of talk radio. And this is what I've been really working towards, and like you coming on the show is just sort of the culmination of that. So I am really excited. I'm hoping that listeners join us in this new experiment in especially public radio programming. I don't know, what do you hope for the future, David? What are you looking forward to?
I think having two people, you have the opportunity to sort of explore ideas in a way that creates tension, allows for disagreement, allows for some debate. And in so doing, you kind of, I think, get a fuller picture of the topic. And while doing so, create connection with listeners. Because, the thing that has always drawn me particularly to public radio is that connection to the people on the other end. And I think allowing two people on the air to show their personalities and kind of explore the way they think through issues. I think both will be illuminating just on the news side, and then also foster that connection between the hosts and the listeners.
Yeah, it's all about the gray areas, right? And
Exactly.
You can really dive into that in a way that you can't when you're just sort of monologuing as, a single host. And then I also think it's going to open up all these ways that we can dive deeper as journalists and do more original reporting and things like that. There's just so many reasons I'm excited about this change. David Kroman is going to be arriving in September as our new co-host here on Soundside. And we're going to be taking some time off in August for kind of retooling, revamping of the show. You're going to be hearing some best ofs in August if you're a regular listener. And beyond that, David, welcome. Thank you so much for kind of taking this leap with us. And I'm very, very excited to be able to officially welcome you to the airwaves when you start up.
No, and I'm honored to get the opportunity, and to you and the team for having me on. And I hope to earn all the listeners' trust out there that we can be a trusted source for news going forward.
David Kroman, brand new host of Soundside. You'll be hearing more from him coming up in September. I'm Libby Denkmann. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still your host here on Soundside. Don't forget you can listen live on KUOW 94.9 Seattle at noon and 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, or anytime right here online at KUOW.org, or of course on your favorite podcast app.